So if you are seated, make sure that you feel rooted through your sit bones. Your eyes are closed, or you can cast downwards to leave a little air, light coming in if that works better for you. Making sure your crown reaches up towards the ceiling. Your shoulders are relaxed down. So your spine is nice and tall. Shoulders are level. Your head is level. And just watch your breath. Just watching your belly rise and fall. Starting to become present, letting everything else just fall away. Everything that happened today before you set foot into this space. When your mind wanders, just gently bring it back to your belly. Focus on your belly. Moving your focus up to the tip of your nose. As watching your breath flowing in and out through your nostrils now. Today we'll be talking about bodhicitta. So as you're sitting here, can you imagine what it would be like if you love everybody like crazy? When you're no longer so concerned about yourself, you're just oozing with compassion and love. all the anger, pride, jealousy, all of those qualities that many of us have running right now. Imagine that being all replaced by just love and care for others. That is your normal state of mind. Try to imagine it, trying to feel that. What would that be like? Can you see this as a possibility of actually happening for you? Then you can slowly come back to the room. Have you ever studied any kind of Buddhism before? Okay, good. So you have some familiarity with it. Good. Sorry? Oh, okay. Nice, nice. There might be a lot of information today for you, so don't worry. Just listen, and hopefully it's not too much. And don't worry, if there's stuff you don't understand. It'll all come together at some point. So what we'll do is we'll review. So this is a course that consists out of 18 separate courses. This is the very first course. Basically an overview of all the 18. An overview of what Buddhism is about. So each course has 10 classes. This class 7 today. Okay, so we've done quite a bit. We've covered quite a bit already.
It's not class 6. No.
It's 7. Or I've prepared the wrong class. It is 7, right? Well, we're doing class 7, so we will review a bit what we've done so far. So this course, who can remember what is the text that we're studying here? You can shout it out. What is it that we are, what this course is about?
3 principal paths.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And in Tibetan it's Lamso Namsu. So this whole course is based on that. So we're unpacking the 3 principal paths. So we have unpacked renunciation. Today we're unpacking bodhicitta as well as next week. Okay. Do you want to tell me what they are, the 3? Well, I just said 2 of them, I guess. Say it again. Who can name them?
Renunciation, bodhicitta, and correct view of the world.
Awesome. Could you explain to me briefly what they are?
Renunciation is a recognition that what we have can't make us happy and that we're caught on the wheel of samsara, which is suffering that we looked at last week.
Yes, yes.
Bodhicitta, is bodhicitta a quality or a state? It's a quality, isn't it? Having a Buddha-like spirit, or
Being of service.
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
We're actually talking about that today, so
perfect.
you'll hear that.
And then the correct view of the world, which involves emptiness, which I'm still struggling with. As you said, it's like a greased pig.
Yes,
So
it
it's
will
very
slip
greasy.
all the time out of your hands. Yes, and you think, oh, I got it, and then it's gone again. It'll be like that for many years. That's fine. It's good to struggle with it. It's really good to struggle with it. Yeah, good. So it is the view of emptiness as well. Always we have karma and emptiness. Always they kind of come together. They say it's 2 sides of the same coin. Okay, so you cannot have one without the other. Okay, so who wants to explain to me what emptiness is? What it isn't, I guess.
A lack of all projection based on your karma.
A lack of all projection based on your karma. Could you elaborate a little bit?
Well, if our karma says that's a cup of tea, so I'm projecting that karma on that item, that thing, it inherently doesn't have any of it.
Right. Good. So it lacks cupness. Everything in the world lacks self-nature, right? That's a pretty crazy thing to say, right? Because everything in society, like everything's based on things being real, and now we're saying, no, they're not.
Is it linked to non-dualism, that everything is interconnected?
Kind of, sort of. Everything is indeed connected, but there is you and me, right? So I don't really want to go that route. As long as we are here, there is dualism. When you have the direct perception of emptiness, when you have that realization, then there is not. But basically what we're trying to say is that things aren't as they appear when we talk about emptiness. It very much appears to me when I look at Turnjeet. Turnjeet is Turnjeet. The way I see Turnjeet, that's how she is, right? It really feels like that. It feels like I know Turnjeet because I see her like that. It must be true. But it's not true. The way Turnjeet sees Turnjeet is very different than how I see Turnjeet. I can guarantee you that. And the way Hogan sees Turnjeet is also, again, very different. So we have a lot of Turnjeets here, right? So this means that Turnjeet is not, has an inherent nature of I'm Turnjeet and this is me, because if she was, we would all see her exactly the same. You know, Serena would see exactly the same Turnjeet as I'm seeing, and we're not. Okay, so this is what we mean by emptiness: is Turnjeet is empty of being a self-existent Turnjeet. Okay, the way that I see Turnjeet, I cannot help it. The way I see her is the way I see her. I'm forced to see her that way, you know. And the way Turnjeet sees Turnjeet is how she is forced to see herself, you know. And it changes from day to day, sure, you know. Maybe some days Turnjeet looks in the mirror and thinks she looks fabulous. Other days, maybe not so much. Who knows, right? It can change. It's not always the same. But in any case, you can't help it. You're forced, okay? And then in Buddhism, they say you're forced because of your karma. Everything you have done before this moment creates what you see. It's forcing you to see Turnjeet, you know. And depending on what your past deeds are, depending on what your karma is, you know, your best friends can turn to enemies just like that. And it's not because your friends change, it's because your karma changed. I was just thinking of that yesterday because my daughter, she had a really good friend in kindergarten, and I don't know what happened, but she sure doesn't like her now. Very strong feelings because this girl did her wrong one time, and that's it. It's over. And it's crazy like that because they were really close before, so it can just switch, right? Things shift depending on what you're forced to feel in that moment. So that's a little bit about emptiness. Then we had talked about the problems of the pot. Okay, so referring to a student, right? There's 3 problems you can have as a student. What are the 3 problems of the pot?
Pot, dirty pot, leaky pot.
Serena knows these well. You really like them.
Yeah.
And what does that mean?
Closed pot, closed mind. Dirty pot, dirty mind. And leaky pot, you don't hold anything. It doesn't
Yeah.
stick.
Yeah. So you're not paying attention to what a teacher is teaching you when you have a lid closed, right? You're not open to receive any new information. When it's dirty, you're not at a class with a proper motivation, right? Maybe you're there because you're competitive, or maybe you're there because you're hot for the teacher, or maybe you're there, who knows what, right? And then the leaky pot is, you don't retain what you were taught. And it's good to check why you're here, why you know, there's lots of other things you can do with your time. So when you choose to come to listen to a class, it's good to know what your motivation is and check in with yourself. And you know, we can have a clear idea of what our motivation is. That will actually increase the virtue too, assuming it's Virtuous motivation. Class 2. We talked about 3 scopes. Does anybody remember the 3 scopes? You might know them. It has to do with motivation in your path to Buddhism. 3 levels.
Levels.
No, that's okay. Turnjit, do you know?
Is that like wanting
Not
wanting
wanting
to
the lower realm.
Yeah.
I remember hearing, but I don't remember not wanting to be born in the lower realm.
is it lower motivation, wanting it for yourself, and others,
Yeah.
enlightenment. I don't know what the third one is.
Lower, medium, and high scope, right? Lower scope would be you want to get out of suffering for yourself. Yasmin knows them too. Medium, lower scope is you don't want to be reborn in the lower realms. Then a medium scope is you want to be reborn. I'm trying to
Reaching nirvana for yourself.
for yourself, and then the highest scope is you want to do it for everybody. Okay.
So can you now?
Yes. So lower scope, you don't want to be reborn in lower realms. So you don't want to have a lower rebirth. You don't want to be born as a hell being or as an animal, and that is your motivation of studying Dharma. Okay? And then when you are in medium scope, you want to get out of suffering, which also includes you don't want to have the lower rebirths. Okay, all 3 of them do. And then the higher scope is a different motivation. It's a motivation you want to get out of suffering for yourself, but you also want it for everybody else. So this is what we're trying to teach in these classes, the highest one.
Isn't that bodhicitta?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes. Okay, then we have 2 bodies of the Buddha. What are the 2 bodies of the Buddha?
Rupakai. It's one body.
Yeah.
There's another one.
You said Rupakaya?
Yeah.
What did you say?
Dharma.
Dharmakaya. Yeah, Rupakaya and Dharmakaya. Form body of a Buddha and wisdom body of a Buddha. So mind, the mind of a Buddha. And they divide those even further, which we don't have to worry about at this point. Doesn't mean that a Buddha is 2 separate things or 4 separate things. It's just parts. It's just parts of that make up a Buddha. And in order to build your form body, which of the 3 principal paths collect a virtue to do that?
Renunciation.
Yeah, as well as bodhicitta. Yeah, and the Dharmakaya, the mind of a Buddha, is created by correct view. Yeah. Good. Then we've talked about the importance of finding a teacher. It's important to find a teacher because you cannot do it alone. You need somebody, if you really want to do this, you need someone who's done it, who is further ahead than you, who knows exactly how to help you. Just like a skillful musician or artist, or, you know, I gave the example of being, if you want to learn piano, you want to learn it well, then you study with a master pianist who knows exactly everything about the instrument and how to help you. And they've gone through all the struggles, so they understand that it's not an easy thing. They know exactly how to help you. They know because they've done it. Okay? Same here. You need to find, you know, you can only get so far without a teacher. You can watch YouTube videos, you can, you know, read books, you can gain some knowledge, but it's not the same, because one of the things that a lama will do for you is deal with your ego. Because if you want to become a Buddha, the ego's got to go. Having an ego equals no happiness. Having an ego causes all your troubles. This cherishing mind that's so concerned about me and everything that it does in the world, a lot of it stems from self-cherishing, right? If not everything. So the Lama will be the one who will help you with that. And that's like the toughest thing. And, you know, when you find your Lama, you probably will often want to run away from them because it's scary, because we want to hang on so badly to that thing that we think we are. That's just causing us trouble all the time.
It's not only this, it's like part of the game. That's the game of society, so how can
It's very hard. Everything's steeped in this me, right? It's very tricky to let it go. But when you do, you know, and we all know those moments when you don't think about yourself for a second, you know, that's when we feel best, you know. When, you know, last week I was really sick, and I was feeling pretty sorry for myself. But I come up here and I teach, and I would think about myself for, you know, a good hour and a half. I feel great. As soon as I leave, I drop Georgina off, I am back to feeling so crappy, right? So we all know that. We all know that once we're not concerned with ourselves, we are free. We're good, you know? If you don't worry about yourself, everything's good. It is really at the moment that you start like, oh, I really need this, or I don't need that, you know? It's very tiring. It's way more energizing when you're not concerned about yourself. So it is a little bit anti-society maybe, because it's
we're not free. We can't, you know. I'm even not from here, so you know I have this all big issue. But like we're not free to live in the world like you know we could be because of the rules and the set.
Yeah, but you know, it is a mindset. So I think we can. It doesn't mean that you don't participate in society. It doesn't mean that you put up a fight everywhere. It doesn't mean that.
No, but like you have to follow the rule. You can't like walk the country because somebody will stop you and like you know and like there's rules.
Sure. We have rules. We need to go to work. We need to feed our family. We need to
We
whatever.
actually don't need to, we choose to.
Well, we choose to. Yeah.
Yeah,
But you can do all these things with a free mind. You can do all these things while feeling happy. We can do all these things without being concerned for ourselves, is what I'm trying to say, you know? We can follow rules and be completely at bliss, you know? We can. We can. When we can eliminate our afflictions, like all the clinging, like pride, jealousy, anything that gets us in trouble. If we don't have those anymore, then what's left? Just bliss, right? So, yeah. So a teacher. A teacher can help you with that. A teacher it knows, knows their stuff. They know how to help you. They know how to get you to that place because they've done it. So when you find somebody that you feel like, wow, they're quite special, I wish I could be like them, then you can learn from them and they'll help you how to get like that. And so we have qualities of a teacher, what we should look for. We can name a few. Let's just name a handful of them. What are some qualities that a good teacher has?
Values morality.
Yeah, they live a moral life. They're kind to others. They don't harm others, right?
That's interesting because I know in sometimes Buddhism the teacher is like I know there was a scandal in American Buddhism where the teachers were not moral, and so there were problems that way.
Definitely happens. Yeah. Not just in Buddhism, in any
Absolutely.
other things too. Yeah, so it's good to observe a teacher. You know, if you're drawn to someone, it's good to just watch them for a while and see, is this somebody that I feel lives a moral life, and is that someone that I'd like to become, just like, you know. And you'll know if it feels right or not. Yeah, so that's one of the things. What else?
Focus, concentration.
Yeah, they should have a still mind. They should be able to be good meditators, concentrated mind. What else?
Don't mind teaching the same stuff over and
Over again. Yeah. Yes, it's very important because they will have to. What else?
Deep-rooted joy.
Yes, they're so happy. They're so happy in teaching other people to become happy. Yeah. What else?
They have an understanding or they've seen emptiness directly.
Yes. So if you can have a teacher who has had that direct experience, everything's like more powerful, you know. But it's not always easy to know if they've seen it, and it's also not because it's not something that they will share, right? It's something that's kept close to the heart. So if you don't know for sure, as long as they have a really good intellectual understanding, that's very helpful. And then maybe, you know, your karma might shift in a certain way, and all of a sudden you see them like, oh my God, they have seen it, and then you can see them as an Arya, as we call them, right? Yeah. Anything else?
High scriptural knowledge.
Yeah, they know their scriptures, their text.
They teach from love.
Yes. Okay, that's good. And then talked a bit about last week. No, that's last week. Okay. We have spoken about the 8 worldly thoughts. So let's just go over those and then we'll continue. What are the 8 worldly thoughts?
Getting something and not getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling good and not feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
Wanting fame and not getting fame. And wanting praise and not getting praise.
And you asked about that, right? I don't know if you got a really clear answer. I felt like maybe you didn't. The difference between, okay, so these 8 worldly thoughts are something we run into all the time. So we feel happy when we get something. We don't feel happy when we don't get something. We feel happy when people say good things about us. We don't feel happy when we don't, Turnjeet asked, well, what's the difference between wanting to be well known and having people praise you? Right? So I think that if you want to be famous, you want everybody to know about you, and you want to become, known all over town or in certain circles, whatever. And praise can just be one individual thing, right? It can just be one person coming up to you, and you like just individual people saying
Trump is
stuff
well
to you.
known. There's no praise there.
Sorry,
Oh, depends who you talk to, though. She said Trump.
Trump is well known, but there's not too much praise there.
Pretty well. No, he has a lot of
He
praise.
does like praise.
He does have a lot of praise, depending on who you talk to.
The rest of the world? I'm just saying he's
Yeah,
known
outside.
throughout the entire world.
Yeah.
And he is
Outside.
certainly not praised throughout the entire world.
Sure.
I
Who
think we
is
can
though?
agree
But
on
who is
that.
But who is? But in his own mind, he thinks he's.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Weird.
people who like him. There's a lot of people who don't, right? So when you get attached to wanting that praise, if you can't relax when people say bad things to you, right?
So fame can be infamous too. You can be the opposite of famous and still be famous.
Yes.
Not well liked and still be famous and be okay with it.
Yeah. So if we can let go of all of that, that would save us a lot of heartache.
I'm wondering.
Okay.
I'm just thinking about the fame. We're seeing it as a positive, but really it's aggrandizement, right? It's aggrandizement, so it can be notoriety. It can be notoriety.
Yeah.
People can really thrive on being notorious.
Yeah.
Right. And
Absolutely. But you can also, think of a person like the Dalai Lama or something. He's very famous, but to me, it appears like if he had 1 follower or 2 million, it doesn't matter to him, And that would be.
I just read somebody interviewed him, and I read the book, and he was saying that one of his goals is to meet all the people in the world.
To what?
To meet.
To
everybody.
meet? No.
Like if you want to meet him, he will meet you.
It's
So
very
it's
sweet.
the love.
Very sweet. Okay. So let's move to this week's class.
Yes, one question.
Yeah, of course.
I think earlier on you were using that example of Tangji, how
Yeah.
we all see Tangji in our own way.
Yeah.
And so really, Tangji, there is no, what did you call it?
Self-existence to her.
Yeah, that there is no real, yeah, I should have written it down.
Self-nature. I think that's what the word should say.
No, just that I always say that our true state is a certain thing, and you're saying there is no true state. But I'm saying in classes, actually, to students, that their true state is compassion and love. So now you're saying there is no true state.
I think it's the wording is just a little bit different here. I'm saying there's no yeah.
There's no self-identity, right? As opposed to a state.
I think it's beautiful what you're saying, that I do think there's a true state.
In a sense, you are, aren't you saying? Because the state of being in bodhicitta
Yeah, but see, it's still empty. It's still forced upon you. So what I'm just trying to bring across is that they're not a solid thing to Turnjit. There's not, if I am, say I'm enlightened and I just am love and compassion, people still can see me like, and totally do not like me. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not self-existent to me that everybody would see that,
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So you're using that as an example to understand that idea. You're not actually saying that human beings or beings do not have a natural state, a true state.
Yeah, I think, the true state would be emptiness, would be being empty completely. And whatever you are seeing is your karma, however you perceive yourself or the people around you or anything in the world is all constantly forced upon you. Also when you are a Buddha,
So where does compassion or love fall into this?
So compassion and love. If you rid yourself of everything else, all of your afflictions, this is what we'll talk about today, is what's left is compassion and love. So in that sense, that would be your natural state, I think. But I want to be careful with saying that because I don't want you to think that then that is solid, then that is self-existent, because it's not. It's also always changing every moment. But when everything else is gone, you no longer care for, you're no longer self-obsessed. When all of that is gone, then all that's left is just love and compassion. And that will be your state.
Because anger is like result, something have to happen.
Yeah. So, and then compassion and love can be a result. Because if you're no longer planting seeds for anger or anything else, if you're only planting seeds because you are thinking and acting from a pure state, then that's what you are creating, right? Does that make sense? Yeah.
So it means you can change your karma.
Yeah. So last week we talked about karma, so that might be a good thing to just review. So karma, 4 laws of karma we have. First law of karma is everything you do will bring a result. So do something good will come. Do something negative, negative result will come. Second law of karma.
Do something bad
Yeah,
Say that again?
I said that. Well, that's part of the first one.
Yeah.
Second,
karma grows.
karma grows. Yeah. So you plant an apple seed, apple tree will grow. Okay? Same in your mind. Hogan brings me a latte. Hogan will find himself under showered in latte.
Starbucks one day.
Starbucks. Lattes for life. Starbucks for life for Hogan.
Yeah.
You get Starbucks points.
I know, you're gonna own it one day. Hogan Bucks.
What else? If you do something, there will be a result. If you don't do an action, there will be no result. So if I want something and I'm waiting for it, but I've not put the causes into place, I haven't put the seeds into place, then I can wait forever. It's just not going to happen. Okay? I will not get money in my bank account or whatever it is that you're waiting for, right? You have to put the karma in. So those are important. They're good to know.
That wasn't 4. I missed something. I have everything you do has a result. Karma grows. No action, no result.
Mm-hmm.
What's 4?
And then do an action, you will get a result. So it's the opposite of the last.
Wasn't there one about time?
That's not one of the 4, but
Oh.
it should, in my opinion, it should be number 5, that there is a time gap. Yeah, because that's important to know. There's no such thing as instant karma. Okay. In the karma course number 5, I think, you will learn if you do certain things with certain motivation, if you do it towards a certain object, like high objects is always a teacher or your parents, because they put you here, then the karma is stronger and you get more karma points. it will get bigger, right? If you have no wisdom, if you have no understanding of karma and emptiness, then there will still be a result. It can take a long time though, you know. So when we do have the wisdom, things will ripen much quicker.
When you say a long time, that could be like
Can be lifetimes. Yeah, can be lifetimes.
And you mentioned that it was very rare to be born in the human realm, like the blind turtle.
Yeah.
And so, if we do something terrible in this life, and you mentioned there was a variety of things
Yeah.
that we could do, does that mean we would be born in an animal realm?
Could be. It depends what you do. It also depends if you realize you did something wrong. There's also ways to counter that doing a deed. We call it the 4 forces. So you can go back and go through these steps, and it will help reverse the situation. So there's things you can do. So it depends. If you have no clue about karma and emptiness and you do a certain deed, yeah, you most likely will be born in the lower realm. Yeah. If you have wisdom, then maybe not. Hopefully not. So, say Jeongsam. Jeongsam is Tibetan, and in Sanskrit is bodhicitta. Jeongsam, Jangsem. So, bodhicitta. So when you are a bodhisattva, someone who has bodhicitta, you have cleared away any obstacles of 2 things. One of them is you have cleared all the obstacles to knowledge. So that means you understand how reality works, right? Really well. And the second thing is you have cleared away all the obstacles of bad thoughts. So you no longer have these afflictions that are taking over your mind and world.
That reality cleared away all obstacles to knowledge. Number 1, reality, does that mean the correct view?
Yeah, so when you have removed both these obstacles, you're Buddha.
You're Buddha or Bodhisattva?
Well, once you have removed, if you have removed both and you have bodhicitta, you are Buddha. Yeah. So, a Buddha is omniscient. Omniscience means that you know everything. Okay? You know past, future, you know everything in one instant. It's hard to even, try to understand if you're not a Buddha. But it doesn't mean that a Buddha knows like difficult math equations or I don't know, like knowledge stuff, right? Really, or maybe they do, I don't know. But the main thing is not important. What is important is for them to know exactly what you need to pick up and drop so you can become a Buddha. Okay? So a Buddha is not omnipotent. Omnipotent is, what is omnipotent? Who knows what omnipotent?
Omnipresent everywhere.
No, omnipotent.
Oh.
Omnipotent.
Oh.
So you're very super powerful.
Yeah, like how Christianity says their God is an all-knowing, self-existing God that rules the world, that makes, I don't know, makes things happen, right? Buddha, not. Buddhism, they say no. Buddha is not that, because if he was that, then there would be nobody in pain, because a Buddha is a compassion being. They don't, all they care about is taking away people's pain, making sure they become happy. So if they could do that, then they would. So a Buddha is not omnipotent. They cannot make things happen like that. What they can do is teach you. Okay, they can teach you exactly what to pick up and put down in order for you, because they can see your mind. They know what you think. They know who you are. Right? So a Buddha cannot just do everything he wants. So they're omniscient, so they're all-knowing. So bodhicitta means the wish to achieve enlightenment for the sake of all beings. Okay? So you want to become enlightened, not just for you. You want to do it for everyone. You cannot stand people suffer. And this is the next step after renunciation. We've talked about renunciation. Renunciation is you are sick and tired of being in this spinning cycle, right? You want out for yourself. And you have to have that in order to be able to feel that for other people. You have to understand that it is that you are suffering. You have to understand that nothing has power to make you happy, like Mary said earlier in class, you know. It's always highs and lows, you know. People get sick and it's just not non-stop, you know, people in pain. And sure, maybe they're happy for a second, but you can just wait and the next disaster is just around the corner, you know. So renunciation is the feeling of, I'm so done with this, I want out. And then bodhicitta is the next step. You want to do that because you also don't want other people to suffer, not just you. Which is a very powerful feeling, you know, it's very beautiful. And I was telling Mary this last week because she had some questions about bodhicitta. So you can have, we call it sugar cane bodhicitta. That is it because the sugar cane is hollow on the inside, right? You just pretend until you get it for real. So you fake it till you make it. So you have this wish starting to grow and you act on it. And at some point it will happen. And when you truly have bodhicitta, it's like a realization. You can't go back from it. Okay, once you have it, you have it. And it can feel very physical in meditation. It's like lights shooting out of you and it, you know. And I don't think you'll ever be the same after. So until that time, you can pretend.
It's also for the animals.
Sorry?
Also for the animals and plants.
Yeah, for every all encompassing. Yeah. all beings, includes all animals too. And it's, there's this beautiful famous story that Geshe Michael Roach tells, is that, one time he was in an airplane and the airplane was going to crash, and the people in the airplane were being notified that you guys all have to hand in your jewelry, because once the plane starts to catch fire, it's all going to melt and stuff, and you guys have to prepare, maybe phone your loved ones and say goodbye, because this is it. And then what happens to people is very beautiful. All of a sudden, everybody's hearts open, and people are lending each other phones, you're hugging each other, this beautiful, in a horrible situation, this beautiful thing happens. You no longer care about the guy beside you taking up your armrest or something, right? All these things don't matter anymore. You are just, it's very beautiful. All of a sudden, everybody can be like that. You just care about the people right beside you. And imagine if you could be like that all the time. Because we kind of are on an airplane right now, because we are going to die. We don't know when. But in this case, okay, so the airplane didn't crash, and the moment the plane lands, everybody, yay, we're still alive, good, and then everybody gets out right away, back to business. Where do I need to go next? And it's like it never happened. It's crazy. But if you can kind of cultivate, can you feel that, how that would feel like, right? It's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. Imagine if you're like that all the time. It's a very beautiful way to be, instead of, oh, I don't really like what she said to me, and he kind of looks gross, so I'm not going to talk to him, or all these little voices that are just always going off. It's like, come on. So it is possible. We can be like that.
There's one of the story, I don't know which one is real, but one of the stories that Buddha gave himself for the tiger.
For the tiger, yeah.
So it's also, death is not what we think about it. It could be somebody present.
Yes.
So what's that? I don't know. What's the story?
The story is a Buddha
His death.
in his former life, right? There were tiger cubs.
Yeah, with the mother, and
they were hungry.
He gave himself for the mother to eat, so she can feed her. So
Yeah.
there's.
And it is said that these cubs are then his disciples in his next life. And I believe his next life is the one he actually becomes enlightened. Yeah. Yeah, so at some point, maybe we will be able to give our bodies, and Master
Death is part of the cycle.
It's
not necessarily something bad.
It is not. But how attached are we to this body, right? How attached are we to this me? And that's why Master Shantideva says, okay, before you give your eyeball to somebody, let's start with vegetables. Let's just start with giving away carrots and potatoes. Start with something you can handle to give away, and then we'll work our way up, That's okay. Yeah, so that's bodhicitta. You develop, you grow that state of mind that wants to become a Buddha. And so you have this wish. And sometimes it's translated as Buddha mind, but that's not correct. So just want to make that clear that it's supposed to be, the aspiration, the wish to become a Buddha. Okay. So when do you become a bodhisattva? is when you have that deep experience. And it's a very strong state of mind. So next week we will talk about a couple different ways how you can achieve bodhicitta. Okay, and now we'll talk about advantages of what's so great about having it. I have another list for you. So also you can become a bodhisattva before you see emptiness. Okay. And once you have bodhicitta, again, it's like having that deep wisdom. Everything is more powered up. And that makes sense. It makes sense to me because it's no longer, all your deeds are no longer steeped in this me situation, right? It's about other people, so that makes sense. Should we just hand out some snacks? You guys just want to take a little bit and pass it out?
I need to go put some money in.
Okay, we're kind of running out of time, but let's just take a 2-minute break then.
Got it. Thanks, dear. So kind.
Just try. Seems very bland.
Taking down, yeah.
Across the street.
Yeah.
Does anybody want more tea?
I'm good, thank you.
I brought pass it back the other way.
Lose the chocolate that way.
I think the chocolate went back. Did the chocolate go that way? No. No.
I don't. I'm fine. I don't know. Carol wants anything. Carol? No, I didn't run any.
This is
Sounds
Your
good.
friend from California came?
What's that?
Your friend from California came?
Yeah, she can take care of me for the time until. So yeah, she got that.
I remember she brings you stuff. Right?
She does.
So this is.
They're from a Persian. It's from a Persian bakery that's in Orange County, and they make all this. And I can't touch it. So I've been giving it away to anyone who comes to my house. Yeah.
So where are you from then? Israel. Holland.
I know couples that if they will have a baby, it will look like you from Czechoslovakia. So,
How long are you living here?
and now I'm here for months, and where did you go?
You don't want to go back? You like it here? Do you have to go back or you
So it's good for me. This is good. Very stressful time now. It's good to relax a little bit. Don't take it so hard because you know my visa expires soon and I have to.
Can you arrange to stay longer? Or no?
Yeah, I signed up for school and I will start to try to find very simple or something that
I had
they always need people.
I had
I don't mind to do.
Where do you guys been? Because last time I've been,
Works at
I would got
Bramble
really
Island.
starved.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
a
I
tricky
remember.
time.
Yeah.
I'm not quite hungry before this.
Bramble Island?
Actually, I like this
Yeah.
12:30 because I'm not used
I
to
can
it.
ask her
It was like,
if she needs anything.
For sure. At 12, which means I have to eat by 1:30.
yeah, well, same here. I know it was with Susan
I
and
can put you in contact with her.
noodles.
Yeah, great.
I don't know if she needs anything.
Funny how
So,
us do
for
this.
some
Half
reason-
hour
Yeah,
different,
so
right?
that's why yesterday when we called,
I know.
you're like, eat,
Well,
and
she
I
is
was
a
like,
teacher.
if I eat now, then I'll just be eating so that I don't, but it don't taste like you know, just
Really beautiful book and when we meet not again. So I'll show you.
How did you
Show you after. It's about the medicine wheel.
So nice. It was
If
like
you're interested in
about
all this.
30 94 people.
It's a
So it wasn't
healing,
as
the
many as said
guiding,
were coming, but
healing
still a
of
nice
medicine.
amount. I got some large orders, like a
I
24
love
books.
this book, but
So that was
great book. I haven't finished, but
so if you would like, that was my donation.
You meant to.
I know.
That's
not the way to do it.
So I'll have to just give you some money for this class. Thanks a lot.
Okay, let's keep going, people.
Putting that out there.
I'm actually going to load the video on my site, so you'll see the video, which I'll explain below.
Okay, so there's this list that is, let's see.
Yeah, that came from my phone.
So we have a list here, and it's taken out of a few different sources. So Jason Kappa, who's been compiling all of this, he's taking it from 3 books. One of them is The Bodhisattva's Way of Life, Chandra Kirti's Root Text on Emptiness, and a third one that's not being mentioned. So you don't need to know that, but that's just to decide. So benefits of being a bodhisattva. The first one is, if you have bodhicitta, good deeds are the cause for omniscience. Okay? So I kind of spoken about that already. So the good things that you do will make you a Buddha.
What is omniscience?
To become this all-knowing being.
Say the word again?
Omniscience?
Omniscience.
Omniscience.
SCIENT.
Omniscient.
It's like omniscience.
Omniscience.
Okay.
Sentences.
Omniscience. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think I just mentioned that, right? So if you are doing good deeds with this feeling, it's very different than when you do good deeds without that feeling. Okay?
Mm.
So you're powering things up big time. Okay, so the next one. Sorry. Okay, the next one is, you are a person worthy to being bowed down by humans and gods.
No, that seems a little egotistic. I don't know.
Is it though?
Like, if you see that as an advantage, why would that be something
It could.
I want to know? Oh, if I do this, it'll be a good bow.
It can be a motivator to get there. Who knows? But I think when you reach that place, you don't care about that.
Is it a motivator or is it a sign?
It's just
for
saying
us?
it's a benefit. You know, this is not me making this up. This comes from text, just saying, hey, here's some great advantages, so let's do it. Why not?
Passenger here, babe.
And some might resonate with you, some might not. It doesn't really matter, right? It just, shows you that it's a big deal. It's such a big deal that gods and humans, you're worthy of being bowed down by. That's how big of a deal it is. And people, like I said before, people will not see it. Okay? Some people might see it. Some people might say, hey, there's something different about that person. I can't quite place it, And they might stick around. They might like to get to know you, be your friend or be your student, right? And other people might not even notice anything. They might not even like you, you know? Don't know.
I think also going back to what Georgina is saying, there's an urge in all of us to want to believe in something better, higher, more pure outside, and that's why I think sometimes we glom onto the wrong character, like the Trump followers. Sorry, Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Or the person that gave everybody Kool-Aid. Having that sense of just believing in something outside of yourself.
So you're referring to my question about the balance?
Yeah. It's not just the person. Oh, I will have these qualities. It's also us wanting to give our fervor to someone else. I got all this.
Mm. Oh, I see. Yeah,
project
yeah.
those qualities
Yeah.
into the person.
Okay. Thanks.
So again, one of those, if you get bodhicitta, you will outshine all others. Listeners, self-made Buddhas, arhats, beings that are heavyweights. When they say listeners and self-made Buddhas, they refer to beings that can actually get high realizations, but they will not become Buddhas for a while because it's still steeped in self-cherishing. So listeners are the people that can go to teachings, can listen for hours. They can even teach themselves, but they cannot practice. They cannot fully realize. The teachings, okay? And self-made Buddhas are not Buddhas, but they are beings that don't have a teacher in this life. So they're doing it on their own. Okay? And like I said before, you can still come quite a ways by not having a teacher, but you cannot make it all the way. And these self-made Buddhas, people will have had many teachers in former lives, or they could not be where they are right now. But in this life, they somehow do not have the karma to have found a teacher, but they can still be like really good beings, right? So having bodhicitta, you're just, further than them, I guess. Then the next one is the tiniest good deed that you do is Mahayana Dharma, if you have bodhicitta. And Mahayana is called the greater vehicle. So it's the bigger capacity. So when we teach these teachings, they're Mahayana Buddhism, because we include all beings. We're not doing this just for ourselves. So as soon as you have bodhicitta, you actually become that. So then you become Mahayana instead of having the sugarcane version of aspiring to be like that. Okay, so when you reach the state of just loving all beings, then you are the greater capacity. You are that vehicle that then can, help beings.
Do you mean, Mariska, that the tiniest good deed is?
Tiniest good deed is the activity of a bodhisattva. So you're planting great virtue by just feeding a scrap to a bird, By doing tiny little actions, it's massive because of the state that you are, right? And then the next one is the Buddhas consider the bodhisattva as their son or daughter.
I'm sorry, is there what?
Son or daughter. it's like a prince or princess being born in a royal family. It's like they're happy that the lineage will continue. So I have a question. When you see emptiness directly, I know we haven't talked a whole lot about it yet, but we're talking about this experience to, you know, when you come back from this experience, that you truly understand how reality is working. That, you know, the example I gave of Turnjeet, I know now for sure, no doubt about it. Nobody can convince me otherwise. I know what I saw. I know what I know. Turnjeet is not Turnjeet the way I thought she was. Okay. Do you think that after having this realization, you can still have that thoughts? You can. Yes, you can. So after you see emptiness directly, which is crucial on the path to becoming enlightened, you still have a ways to go. You still have not eliminated all the crap, right? So when you become an arhat, which is reaching nirvana, then you have. After that, you can no longer feel anger. You can no longer feel jealousy. You have eliminated all the causes for it. So you cannot have that anymore. And the way you eliminate this quickly is with wisdom. When you have bodhicitta, when you have this wish, everything's just powered up. So it just it happens quickly, okay? So then when you have reached nirvana, you're not a Buddha yet, okay? Some schools of Buddhism, they say nirvana is Buddhahood. In the school that we are, we say no. Buddhahood is not the same as nirvana. Nirvana you can reach without bodhicitta. Nirvana you can reach eliminating all of your yucky thoughts. Just for yourself, you can reach nirvana and be very blissed out. When you have bodhicitta in your heart, when you want to do this for every being, then you can become a Buddha. So you can kind of maybe say skip nirvana altogether and just become a Buddha right away. Once you see emptiness directly, you have bodhicitta in your heart. You are on bhumi number 1. Okay, so there's 10 bhumi levels. Bhumi means a bodhisattva level.
How do you spell that?
B-U-M-I. So you're on level number 1. So you have 10 levels to go, you know, which is kind of cool. You can read in scriptures about all these levels and you can kind of see where you're at. Okay, I think, you know, at level 8 you have like pretty much gotten rid of everything. There's just this very, very subtle little self-grasping that you might still see once in a while. But you're very close. So even on the first bhumi level, you're very close.
Mariska, can I just
Yeah.
go back one little
Yeah.
bit? So an arhat, you've reached nirvana and you have no more mental affliction.
Correct.
Can you be an arhat without having bodhicitta?
Yes, you can. You can. Arhat. Yeah, it's a Sanskrit word. Meaning you are now in nirvana. Okay. So depending on your state of mind, you can become a Buddha in one lifetime. If you are practicing like higher teachings, you can. If not, they say when you see emptiness directly, it's 7 lives, which, you know, seems like a long time for us, but it's not. It's like that, right? A minimum of 7 lives, between 7 and 16. So I think if you, it just depends how hard you want to work at it, you know? Once you have had this experience, you're guaranteed, you're on your way out. But if you're just gonna sit back and just watch Netflix for the rest of your days, it might take a couple more lifetimes. But if you're like, let's do this, and you're giving it your all, then it'd be quicker, right? It makes sense. Really, how much effort do you want to put in? Maybe you're tired. Like, I've worked so hard to get here. I'm just gonna watch some Netflix for a while, right? It's okay. I know I'm getting there. I have the wisdom in my mind. I have the love in my heart. It's really up to you. I mean, the faster the better, of course, because you'll be actually able to help people. Okay, so we're basically there. Okay, yeah, so that's the last one. If you have bodhicitta, you can become Buddha in one life.
That's the last.
That's the last one. Yeah, I didn't know, but it is.
Do you need to see emptiness to go to nirvana? No.
Yeah.
Oh, you need emptiness to go to nirvana.
You do, because you cannot eliminate all of your negative deeds and seeds if you don't have that deep understanding of how reality works. So we are done the class. We are a little bit over time. So if you want to go, you can go. If there's any more questions, we can still take a few minutes to do questions. Are there any questions? Everything's clear? No, it was quite a mouthful.
Just the class
Yeah.
is the 11th, is a Friday, is a holiday. Are we meeting that day?
The 11th of November. A holiday. I haven't thought about that.
Remembrance Day.
Okay. I'm good either way, so I don't know if you guys want to or not. We can skip a week. I'm fine with that too. Tunjit says no. Is anybody else says I don't want to come?
No, you don't want the class.
She didn't want to skip it. Keep
Oh,
going.
yeah.
Just want to keep charging
She's
it.
going to Buddhahood in one like.
Get on the train. Julie, get on the train.
Don't slow her
We're on
down.
the Buddha train
She
here.
got the. You can watch Netflix. It's good.
So let's say yes. We'll do it tentatively then. Okay. So let's close up with the prayers. Sashi Fuki Jukshin Miktok Tram Rira Lingshin Yin Leikin Padi Sange Shindu Mikde Luwadi Jokun Nandak Shima Chupasho Yidam Guru Here's the great earth, filled with the smell of incense, covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain, the four continents, wearing the jewel of the sun and moon. In my mind, within the paradise of the Buddha, and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the freedom of the world. Idam Guru So then the next one is the dedication. Gewadi Kim Sunam Yeshe Sotso Sunam Yeshe Lejum Dampa Kuni By the goodness of what I've just done, may all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus
gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make.
prostrate.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.